time to fuel your business success. Welcome to Harmonious at Lunch. We're bringing you bite-sized advice and expert conversations to drive clarity and growth 5 days a week. Make sure you join our Facebook group at humanopt.com/lunch, where listeners like you and our guests hang out so we can find harmony in business together. If you're building a business, you're in the right place. Let's dive in.
Welcome back into some more bite-sized business advice. It's the Harmonious at Lunch weekly update, the Wupdate, episode number 5, I think. Wupdate number 5. Don't quote me on that. Not very good at remembering these things. But anyway, episode number 5, we're going to recap this week's of episodes. And oh my word, this week, 4 great guests. Yeah, I've said that every single time I've done one of these updates. I get it. I get excited. I love the guests that come on the show, and I hope you do as well. We had Hersh Rephun, Corey Quinn, William Holstein or Bill Holstein, and Alexander Concepcion, and it was a crazy, crazy week of guests. We talked about skydivers falling out of planes and dying. We talked about your business and comparing entrepreneurship to Dante's Inferno. Talked about vertical specialists and AI all over the place this week, but it was really a great week of episodes, again, from my seat, but I hope you enjoyed it too. I'm going to give you the high-level overview, and I'm trying something new this week. I'm going to at least try to play video clips from each episode, 20 to 30 seconds within this episode, so you get a little snippet of it. If you have not listened to the episodes, again, we'll go high level. I'll give you a sense of what it was about. I think this week you should probably listen to all 4. And I'll be honest with you, if there's a week where there's an episode that's like, meh, you could probably just listen to this update and that's about it. I promise you, I'll tell you that. But this week, all 4 of them, you're going to want to go check this out. So let's start it off with Hersh. Hersh, on Monday, we talked about authentic branding. We talked about AI. And if you're watching, I want to put there we go. The YouTube episode cover is on the screen. Sell the truth. We talked about developing your brand and really making it feel like you, making your mission, your personality, and your brand's personality come through when you're selling or when it's experienced by the public. He talked about creating a brand Bible, and really starting with yourself in the business, not the whole story, your life story, but how did you get here? Why are you doing this business? That's important, not only for your customers to understand and to be involved in your marketing, bringing people into that story and making them part of what you do, but also your employees. When you hire people, they don't want to work at just some gear factory where there's employees that come in and go out and nobody really improves their lives. If they're going to work for you as an entrepreneur, as a small, medium business, they want to know that they're part of something bigger. And your story is a powerful, powerful part of recruiting and retaining top talent. I thought this episode was absolutely amazing. It was fun. Hersh has a background as a comedian. Let me go ahead and play a clip from this episode and see what you think.
So in other words, what I've come to learn is, as a writer, that AI can be a wonderful partner and kind of executor of our messaging, but it needs really, really good guidance. So I needed an app partner who had developed a guidance system that could take the stuff that I've given it, the stuff that I've, the detail, the care, the nuance, and really apply it in the most practical way.
So there you have it. He's talking about AI, building a system, and he talked about that further in the episode, building a custom AI platform that helps him and his clients write copy, design their marketing, come up with a strategy, but all done in the brand voice and in your voice so that you can be in multiple places at once. That's the beauty of AI. We dissected that in the episode. So thanks to Hersh for stopping by. I encourage you to go check out that episode if you haven't already. If you have, put it in the show notes down below, or not the show notes, the comments, wherever you're watching or listening. I'm curious what you took away from that episode with Hersh, and what are you going to do with it. That's the most important part of this show, I believe. I really want you to take these bite-sized episodes, find something you like, you can implement, do it, test it, and then see what the results are. We put out an episode a day for a reason. All right, let's move on. Corey Quinn. Yes, this episode yes. I have to be honest with you. I was incredibly skeptical at the beginning of this episode. Before we started recording with Corey, he's a cool dude, don't get me wrong. Awesome to hang out with him. But he talked about escaping founder-led sales, and his solution to do that was by specializing in a vertical, being a vertical specialist. And I must say, I hate the phrase "the riches are in the niches" because I think people, they go too far with it, and they over niche, so to speak. They niche well beyond the need, and they get so far down in the rabbit hole that, yeah, of course, you're the only person that serves Vietnam veterans who love to knit, have 3 dogs, and have a cat allergy. But how many of them are there possibly on the planet? 4, maybe? Instead of going down that rabbit hole, which I thought this episode could do, Corey explained, and I must say he convinced me that being a vertical specialist is actually the quickest way to escape founder-led sales and scale your company in a dramatic way. Corey's book, which the name is escaping me at the moment, so please forgive me on that. Oh, it's Anyone, Not Everyone. Just popped in my head. I actually downloaded the audiobook. I'm currently listening to it. I'm almost done with it. I strongly recommend you, if nothing else, go to the episode, go to the description, download the audiobook for yourself, and check it out. It's blowing my mind. I love every single chapter of it. It gets better and better. He's got a workbook attached to it where you can actually go through and do the work while you're listening to the book. I promise you're going to get a whole lot out of that book. But really, we talked about escaping the generalist trap. That was the whole point of the episode. And I think I asked all the questions that you would have. If you're a skeptic like me and you're like, I don't know if I want to go down that path, go listen to it if you haven't already. I asked all the questions. I was still a little bit skeptical after listening to after recording the episode with Corey. But now reading his book and diving in, he's got me hooked. I'm sold. And I must say, I'm a fan of being a vertical specialist. So the thumbnail is on the screen. It's escape sales. Can't speak today. Having a rough one here with a birdcage on it. So go look for that thumbnail if you haven't seen it already. But let's check out this clip from Corey.
Once you have focused on a vertical market, and then you understand the psychology behind how and why they buy, what are the attributes they care about, what are the motivators, what are the pain points that they need solved. Once you've mapped all that out, your sales and marketing above the waterline becomes much more powerful. So the question is, how do you choose the right vertical market so that you're not wasting your time?
Yes, that is the question. And thanks for Corey for stopping by. Amazing episode. Can't speak highly enough about that. Let's move on, though. We got the Wednesday episode with Bill Holstein. This is the thumbnail on the screen. Avoid dumb mistakes with the broken piggy bank. We talked about goof-proofing your business. Bill is a funny guy. He's got a book about avoiding dumb mistakes in your business, and he admitted that, yes, he has made all of the dumb mistakes you could make in business, but he's learned from them, and that's the important part. I think we've all made dumb mistakes in business, and that's okay. That's how you learn, you grow your business, you get better as an entrepreneur. But a couple of things we talked about, I'll play the clip in a minute. We talked about skydivers falling out of planes and falling to their death in a tragic story, but I'm pretty sure we've all done something like that, not to that extent, but we've done something like that in our business, a preventable mistake that we just missed. We missed at the time. He talked about really cool strategies, though, to prevent failures and sort of like gamifying failure and preventing failure in your business, conducting pre-mortems. So you think about all the things that could go wrong. For some people, that's an absolutely painful exercise, and I understand that. But for others, maybe you just happen to see what the negatives are before you see the positives. Either way, conducting a pre-mortem, thinking about all the things that could go right and all the things that could go wrong, and sitting down to take the time to really analyze that for your business is a powerful exercise. And I thought that was really cool of Bill to bring up. And also the important part of this episode, I think, was the emphasis that Bill made on learning from others' failures and mistakes. It's so much easier to look at the mistakes of others, learn from companies who have failed, and identify in their story what made them fail, whether it was a total business failure and collapse, or a product line that flopped or something like that, marketing that failed. Learn from others so you can apply it to your business and prevent those mistakes. You don't have to always learn from your own failures and commit those mistakes and costly errors. Make a practice of looking for others who have failed, figure out why, and figure out if you're on that track in your business too. So this was a really, really great episode that I think entrepreneurs, we want to be positive and we want to think about the best case scenario. What if we have the next unicorn? What if we grow our business to a gajillion dollars a year and we never have to work and we get to sit on the beach watching margaritas? Take a little bit of time to learn from mistakes and think about the things that could go wrong. And you're much more likely to get to the gajillion dollar margarita sipping entrepreneur. Let's play a clip from Bill and we'll hear about this skydiver.
One example of a big blunder written about in the book is about skydiver Ivan McGuire. In the 80s, he was asked, he's a very experienced skydiver instructor. He was asked to film another student and instructor jumping out of the plane after him. Then Ivan reached for his own ripcord and only then realized he forgot it. So the camera caught his voice saying, "Oh my God, no," as he actually fell to his death. Tragic, tragic, tragic.
Interesting story. Not really a fun story, but it's one of those things where, again, you can learn from it. Put checklists in place so things don't happen like that. And there's a number of other things that came out of that episode with Bill. So thanks, Bill, for stopping by. Really appreciate you joining the show and coming by and being a great guest. Finally, the Thursday episode from last week, entrepreneurial immortality. And we talked about comparing entrepreneurship to the book Dante's Inferno. If you've ever heard of the book or read the book, you know that that's a very weird comparison. And again, this was another episode before we started recording that I was like, I don't know if I'm going to agree with a whole lot in this episode or if I'm going to even like it. But Alexander Concepcion blew my mind with this episode. Talked about personalizing the business to you and who you are, how you operate, taking advantage of being small, being a small business and not copying others. It was an episode that made me think more than most episodes. I will say that the comparisons and analogies he was making to Dante's Inferno and just bigger concepts in life and in business, I was struggling to even form questions at some points. And usually, if you've listened to or watched the show before, usually, you know, I don't prepare any questions in advance. I don't even really know who my guest is before we get on the show. We meet for 3 to 5 minutes. I hit record and we just have a conversation. Alexander really made me step back and think about things on the episode to the point where there was a couple pauses in there where I was just like, I don't even know what to think about that. I have to really sit and digest it. So absolutely phenomenal episode. It will make you think about how you run your business, about how you operate your life. And I will say too, it's in line with everything we believe at HumanUp. And that's why we put our app out to the public for free. If you haven't downloaded a copy yet or your version of the app, I would go to humanup.com now so that you can learn who you are, what you are at your core, and then you could leverage that into what Alexander is saying, building a business around the unique version of you. I love that he got there. We can just help you understand who you are, that blueprint, that owner's manual for yourself. So go check that out if you haven't already. And please go listen to this episode if you haven't already. Let me play a clip from it now, and then we'll wrap this episode up.
Because in the reality, businesses don't really fail. It's people just stop giving it energy, and then the business dies. So survival is about what makes you keep making the choice to say, yes, I'm going to keep doing this. And so that energy component it factors in like the emotional costs, the costs of like stress and anxiety and burnout and all of the human parts that we sacrifice to run our businesses. Because if that thing falls apart, then everything falls apart.
Even that clip makes you think a little bit. Listen, this episode was awesome. I hope you liked it. I want to hear your takeaways. I want to hear what episode you loved from this week. Pick your favorite. Man, back to that speaking thing again. I'm working on it. Pick your favorite. Put it in the comments. Comment down below. Subscribe. Like this video. Share it with somebody else who you think would also love Harmonious at Lunch. You can listen to this podcast. We're on all podcast platforms. You can watch it on YouTube, whatever you're most comfortable with. You can also listen to it on YouTube as well, on YouTube Music. So check us out, subscribe, share it with a friend, and put your favorite episode from this week down below in the comments. There was no technical difficulties here with playing the video clips. I love that. It actually worked out. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this week. We will see you next week. I have some more amazing guests lined up for you, and we'll be back with another update to wrap up the week next Friday. See you then.
Another episode of Harmonious at Lunch in the books. I hope this episode made you think and you grabbed some actionable ideas to propel your business. Don't forget to like, comment your takeaways, and subscribe wherever you're listening so we can help more entrepreneurs just like you achieve harmony